Shivaya Namasamasta Devaya Mahatmane Ekarupaya Sarvesham Namami Parameshwaram. There are moments in history when devotion becomes so pure, so fearless, so all-consuming that even the divine cannot remain distant. These are the stories of three such souls: a king, a simple villager, and a poet, whose lives revealed one eternal truth. When the heart chooses Lord Shiva completely, the world itself transforms around it. Long before our time, when devotion was woven into the breath of daily life, and every village carried the fragrance of temple bells and sacred songs, three luminous beings walked the earth: Aiyadigal Kadavarkon, Kanampulla Nayanar, and Kari Nayanar. Each came from a different world: royalty, poverty, and scholarship. Yet, all three carried in their hearts a flame that no wind of life could ever put out. Aiyadigal Kadavarkon was born to rule. The city in India of Kanchi looked to him for justice, protection, and wisdom. The ministers bowed before him, the army moved at his command, and the prosperity of the land rested on his decisions. Yet, behind the grandeur of the palace lived a king whose heart beat not for crowns or victories, but for Lord Shiva. Even as he presided over courts and councils, his inner gaze remained fixed on the sacred shrines across the land. He longed to walk freely among saints, wash the step of temple entrances, and chant hymns without interruption. As the years passed, the weight of the crown began to feel like a barrier between him and the divine. And then came a moment, a quiet sunrise, a gentle realization, when he knew his path clearly. He entrusted the kingdom to his son, stepped down from the royal throne, and walked away with nothing but devotion in his heart. He traveled from one Shiva temple to another, barefoot, unguarded, unburdened. Whenever or wherever he went, he sang with such depth that even those who did not know the language could feel their hearts tremble. The Lord he adored with such purity could no longer remain hidden. Lord Shiva appeared before him, blessing him with divine darshan, and Aiyadigal's soul dissolved into the grace he had always lived for. Where Aiyadigal Nayanar renounced everything to walk toward God, Kanampulla Nayanar walked through the fire to keep a single flame alive for him. Kanampulla Nayanar had once lived in comfort. Wealth surrounded him, but he used every bit of it for one purpose: to keep the temple lamps burning with bright, steady light. Lighting the lamps was not a ritual for him. It was his breath, his joy, his personal conversation with Lord Shiva. But the divine, in his mysterious play, withdrew Kanampulla Nayanar's wealth. One loss followed another. His friends drifted away, even family members questioned his priorities. And yet, not once did he complain. Not once did he step away from his sacred duty. He moved to Chidambaram in India, selling whatever little he had left just to buy a small measure of ghee for the lamps. When that too was gone, he began cutting and selling bundles of grass, thin blades gathered with immense effort and sold for almost nothing. His hands bled, his body weakened, but his devotion only deepened. Soon he was known simply as Kanampulla Nayanar, the one who survived by grass only to offer the proceeds back to the Lord. One evening, the world tested him once more. He collected grass the entire day, but not a single person bought it. With dusk approaching, he stood before the darkening shrine, tears filling his eyes, not for hunger, not for poverty, but for the lamp that might go out. He made a wick from the grass and lit it, but it burned out quickly. And without any hesitation and without any fear, he leaned forward and offered his own hair, his own body as the wick to keep the flame alive. That moment of pure, fierce surrender shattered all distance between man and God. Lord Shiva appeared instantly, stopping him with a touch filled with infinite compassion. Mahadev blessed him, declaring that even the light of the sun could not shine as brightly as the devotion in his heart. And then there was Kari Nayanar, whose devotion was quiet, refined, and overflowing like a river of poetry. Born in Tirukadavur in India and blessed with a brilliant mind, Kari Nayanar saw the world through the lens of rhythm and melody. The language Tamil flowed through him like divine nectar. His words painted the glory of Lord Shiva with a tenderness that melted even the hardest hearts. Kings rewarded him, people honored him, and scholars admired him. But Kari Nayanar kept nothing for himself. Every coin, every favor, every gift he received was turned into an offering. He built temples, supported devotees, and revived all the crumbling shrines. For him, writing poetry was not a profession, it was worship. And serving devotees was not charity, it was communion. His entire life was a song sung at the feet of the divine. In offering everything he had, his wealth, his time, his talents, Kari Nayanar dissolved the thin line between man and God. Lord Shiva accepted his devotion with grace and lifted him into eternal remembrance. 3 lives, 3 journeys, and 3 hearts beating with one truth. A king who walked away from a palace, a simple villager who offered his own body, and a poet who poured his soul into every verse, all showed the world what happens when love becomes absolute. When devotion becomes your only direction, Mahadev becomes your destination. May these stories remind us that the divine has never been far. He waits for a heart that burns, a heart that trusts, a heart that surrenders, and may that heart be ours. May Jagatpita Mahadev bless us all. Keep seeking, keep chanting, keep surrendering. Om Namah Shivaya.